Welcome in to Intuitive Channeled Messages with Ami. This is my first video or content doing this kind of new type of video. So I'm going to be discussing topics that are important at this now moment for the collective. So this is a combination of intuitive messages or downloads that I have been receiving, and also doing a little bit of connecting while I'm doing the video and getting some channeled messages as well to support the content that wants to come out. And this was guided to me through connections with higher dimensional beings and channeled guides, that this was time that I needed to start doing this. So here's the first video in line with this. I wanted to discuss a little bit about kind of what I do in general, because it's kind of fourfold. I do kind of outline this in my books. So I am a starseed, intuitive, clairvoyant, all the things, as well as spiritual author. And I guess what I do is fourfold, which I say. One, what I do and provide to others is to help you to open your awareness. One. Two, to unearth the impossible. So that's an important piece to spiritual growth, expansion. It's also key to opening your awareness is to unearth the impossible, because the only way you can expand and grow right into new territories of energy, of new frequency, of kind of, if you want to call it the term ascending, is you need to go to places you haven't been before, and you need to open yourself up to new ideas that maybe, a month ago, a year, 5 years ago was not possible for you. It's also opening up to new, like the impossible experiences or the impossible happening. So the more you approach life that anything is possible, you're opening the doors to new possibilities and opportunities for experience, because right, we are in the physical and we're here to experience the physical, right? So 3, to find your individual truth through experience. So we talked about the impossible, experiencing the impossible. It's also finding your truth, because, you can say what I'm speaking to you, my content, my books is my truth, but I'm just expressing my authentic truth and through my own experience to the collective, which it's not about me speaking my truth and you taking my truth on. What it is about, through my energetic frequency, through the codes in my writings, in my content, in my videos, in my voice, it's there to open up new energy, opening up cells. You could say opening up DNA, but it's opening up energetic connections to you and your higher consciousness, to you and your guides, to your, expansive support system from a divine perspective to help you figure out what your truth is. And most humans, right, only identify truth through what they can taste, touch, hear, see. So, I may experience something and find truth and then relay it to you. And maybe it's going to take my information plus then an experience you have in expanding and be like, oh, now I understand, right? So that's 3rd. 4th is to open the pure love inside yourself. So as humans, again, we have this term love, and we associate it with a definition or what we conjure up as love, right? But in reality, the human love is kind of the surface definition. It's the surface experience of the term, I guess, human love. We can call it when we try and put it in words, it's hard to put higher dimensional frequency into terms that we understand. You can call it pure love. You can call it unconditional love. You can call it many different things, but it truly is your core frequency at its literally purest. And that is the frequencies of higher dimensions is what's coming in. So it's opening up these frequencies within yourself. And it's, you know, to really understand what that feels like, obviously you have to experience it. And, you know, the big thing with my books is it's doing all those 4 things, but there is codes in the words, and the codes are helping you to open up feelings and emotions. So that's a big, I guess, what I do through my writings is the basis is to open up feelings and emotions within you. That's kind of like how I write and what my content is about. And yes, it's informational, but what it is the information is opening up, again, frequencies for you. So that's going to help me move on to our theme today, or our subject matter is about emotions. And it's why we're talking about this right now is because this is a key thing that's happening right now. And what, as you can see by the title of this video, is emotional recalibration. And I've been getting a lot of information, just again, crossing my path, getting channeled through. And it, again, I was noticing a theme about emotions. And then it finally, you know, sometimes information comes in and it has, it's like, it's puzzle pieces, right? And then you put the puzzle together. And then all of a sudden it like comes together, or where there's like this last piece where it's like, oh, now I get it. The other thing, which I didn't know when I first started getting this, was what was going on astrologically. And that all of a sudden started coming in, and it really made me understand, okay, this is why this is so important right now at this time. So this video is coming out in November 2025. So we have huge, the water signs are just dominating the astrology right now. And as you know, water represents emotions. So you have the water signs, which are Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer, kind of dominating things right now. We have, just to name a few, right? We have the sun in Scorpio right now. We are wrapping that up, but that's huge. We have, hold on, I'm gonna just grab my astrology book here while we're talking. So we have a new moon in Scorpio also coming up November 19th, which is going to be big. We have Jupiter in Cancer, which is retrograde. We have Uranus in Pluto, which is, or sorry, we don't. Uranus and Pluto, that was totally Uranus, hold on, I'm trying to see here. Where, okay, maybe I can't see it. Sorry, I should have done more of this. But anyways, so we have those 2 key things. And then we have a grand water trine, which we're in, and that's going to be going on through mid-December. So, you know, then as well, on the 6th of looking back, we also had Venus entering Scorpio. And I'm just seeing when Venus. And then, so Venus is going to be in Scorpio through the end of the month. Okay, so that's just a few things happening here. So we are just dominated by this water energy, and there's a reason for that, which I received the information about. like I said, emotional recalibration going on. This is literally putting at the forefront a priority is our our relationship with our emotions, and also diving deep in the unconscious side of things, digging deep into the layers of the emotions. Like, we're diving into the deep end, and we're not being asked if we want to. Like, everyone is getting pushed into the deep end right now. Like, you don't have a choice. And how you're going to navigate through this time is obviously going to be how aware you are, how much work you've already done in an emotional place, and how comfortable you are with your emotions. So usually we say water signs are gonna, they represent water. They're the most kind of, I guess, that's who they are, right? That's where they feel the most comfortable. So water signs are probably going to have a lot of comfortability, but also the water signs are going to be impacted a lot. So it's kind of twofold here. And I think to Neptune, I want to say, I think Neptune is in Pisces, or I'll have to look that up. I'll tell you after. Anyways, okay. So, right. So if also signs that aren't as comfortable, and it's not just about your signs, obviously, it's about you as an individual, your personality, who you are, your trauma, all that good stuff. But so this is at the forefront. They wanted me to talk about this and bring this to the collective so that you're aware, because this is going to really, if you have information, right? If you're educated, if you're aware of what's happening, instead of just like, not knowing what's going on, and you're like, feel like you're going crazy or whatever, or just how do you navigate the external world right now? Because this is impacting everyone. They're also saying that, it's going to be kind of a weird environment out there with people, because people are going to be really heightened right now. The emotions are going to be high. People are going to get triggered easily. There's a lot of karmic triggering happening because we're also in the phase of Uranus ending its 7-year journey in Pisces. And this has been a huge period of a very karmic time. A lot of you may look back at the last, since I think it was 2018, and see, like, looking back, see what's happened in your life, what's unfolded, what themes have come up, what have you been dealing with. We're wrapping this up now because Uranus is going to be moving into Aries beginning of next year. I think it's April. So these last kind of core 6 months is basically saying, the theme, the goal of Uranus and Pisces, it's like, okay, you had 7 years to work through this, and now we're at the very core end. So it's like, if you haven't, like, it has to wrap up. So if you've been resisting, if you've been like, back and forth with some of these themes, there's been a lot of endings that need to wrap up. So like, this is the time to do that. So it's really going to start to get intense, especially with karmic patternings, karmic behaviors. Like, Uranus wants to blow stuff up. Like, it sounds intimidating, but it's blowing stuff up that needs to go, right? Uranus is like, we're doing this. Uranus is about surprises. It's about kind of changing things up. It's about, hey, how do we look at things new? Where Pisces, Pisces is that unconscious. Pisces is the emotions. Pisces is the deep, watery, it can be disillusionment. So where Uranus is trying to put this in your forefront of your face, this Piscean energy can kind of make you a bit disillusioned with things, and deceive you a little bit. Like, what's the truth? There can be a lot of confusion with that energy. So you can feel stuck. Okay. But now, as we're wrapping this up, it's like Uranus is finally like, nope, no more disillusionment, no more confusion. We're getting clarity. And, so we need to be ready for Aries, which is about the self, which is about, authentic self, about who am I, and like finding clarity there. So this is big right now. The other thing about this new moon in Scorpio coming up, the energy's already started. So from what I'm getting is the energy opened up around the 12th. And so from here till that new moon and a little bit lagging, right? This is going to bring up a lot of, it's just bringing it up even more. So it's like people are going to be, I also picked up that people who have really dense energy, I hate to say like dark because it seems kind of so like, ooh, but like people who have very dense energy. I mean, you can associate with, the dark, like more dark energy, but it's because they're holding a lot of density within themselves. They're going to be really out to try and, if you are somebody who's very empathic, intuitive, just has higher frequency energy, just be careful because people who are more dense, it's kind of like the moth to the flame. Okay. And these people are going to be really looking for energy pulling from people like that. And it can come out to feel like they're targeting you or you're going to take it personal. But right now, don't take anything personal because people are just really reacting to the energies right now. And they're kind of, yeah, you could say it's personal, but really it's their dense energy being attracted to your high frequency energy. And they're also going to be noticing that. And so there's going to be a lot of potential envy, jealousy, just like that higher frequency triggering them because they're not there. So that's something else to kind of take into account right now. But I wanted to talk about that first before we get into the channel. So we're already about 17 minutes in. I don't want this to get too long. So let's dive in. And I'm just going to connect and just any higher divine messages that need to come through about this emotional calibration time. So let's start here. Again, thank you all for being here, listening, being open to receiving information that can help you on your highest path, that can help you right now become more aware and conscious so that you can change and shift first so that you can then approach and navigate the external world in a new way that can help change this reality, this earth plane. So again, kudos to you for being open, like was said earlier, to the impossible, because we're at a pivotal point that we're going to shift where the impossible has already started to happen, but it's going to happen more and more. And the more you're open to it, the more you're going to be able to receive the benefits of the impossible happening. You can also look at that in terms of miracles, blessings, abundance. And sometimes to receive that, you have to be really open to anything and everything happening. So a key thing here we want to call out for everyone is surrendering. This is a time to literally surrender to whatever is occurring in every moment. So this is not a time to control or it's not a time for expectations. It's not a time to try and create outcomes or to analyze things or define things in your mind and try to envision in your mind how things need to unfold or things need to happen. This is also not a time, even if fear and anxieties come up, it's okay. We're telling you they are going to come up and it's okay. And we've come to speak to you right now is to help you understand how to navigate the fear and anxieties or any other dense emotion that may come up, whether it's anger, jealousy, fear, rage even, sadness, grief, shame, guilt, all of these things. Depending on your karmic signature, depending on your patternings, you're going to obviously experience this differently. And the key, like we said, is surrendering, being objective, and creating a new relationship with these feelings and emotions. And that's key. You almost need to look at the emotions as they're a separate entity from you. And it's learning, how do I, again, relate to this feeling? How do I work with this feeling? What do I need to do for this feeling to feel seen, heard? And give it the space, the container it needs to express itself. Usually when these feelings comes up is because there's a part of you, a trauma, an aspect of you that never received the container it needed to navigate the experience it was going through in the proper way so that you could actually flow and navigate the trauma or whatever experience it was in a healthy way where you had support and a container. And that's the key, because if you have all that during the trauma or the experience, it's not about the trauma, it's about the lack of knowledge of how to navigate it, the lack of support in the container you received. What was the support and container at that time? And most of the time you didn't have one, and you didn't have people to support you. You didn't have people helping you to navigate the feelings or the situation in a way that you could flow through it, release all of whatever was coming up, and then that energy would leave you and go off into the universe and continue on its journey. But what happened is you held on to this and you suppressed it, you pushed it down, you ignored it, and it's still stuck in your energy field. And this energy doesn't ever extinguish, it never dies. Energy is eternal. So whether it's an energy of anger, if you just hold it in, if you suppress it, it's still existing within you. It doesn't go away. Just because it doesn't pop up a lot for you, or you don't feel it all the time, it's still there. And that's why there's triggers, right? That's why we experience something in the external world and it all of a sudden will trigger that, because essentially you can see it as a wound that never healed. That's why you guys refer to it as healing. But it's really about just allowing an energy frequency to flow out of you and to not hold on to it anymore. So that's what's happening right now. We need to address these dense frequencies that you've been holding on to or haven't allowed to release, to flow. And the only way you're going to do it is to give it the exact thing it needed from the beginning, which is, again, you need to see it, you need to hear it, and you need to give it space to do what it needs to do or to feel what it needs to feel. And, it may just take one connection with it. It may take a couple. But that's where you need to get really intimate with this feeling. So we're going to quick give you an actionable way to do this. So the first thing you're going to do is when it comes up for you, okay, we're going to use anger. So I'm feeling this anger come up within me. That's where this term somatics comes in. So you really need to then kind of stop, give yourself some time to connect to your body. So where in the body do I feel the anger? Where is it like resonating or really coming up. And you may say, I feel it in my chest. And then it's like they keep asking the questions of, okay, it's in my chest. So, and just feel, what does it feel like? What's happening in the chest? Well, it feels warm, or it feels like I can't breathe. Okay, is another question could be like, what's coming up too? Like maybe it's coming up as a color. I'm seeing red, maybe an image. I'm seeing fire. And then the next step would be to kind of then ask it, does it have a form? Okay, maybe it may come up, like I said, as an image like a fire, but maybe you say, okay, I want to see what the image, like, what does this anger look like? Is there kind of an image or a part behind this? And maybe all of a sudden you'll see an aspect of yourself. Maybe you'll see, oh, I'm seeing a me at like 10 years old or 15 years old or even younger. It could be a bunch of different things. And that's where when it has an image, you can kind of relate to it more in a relational way. And then you can say, then when you kind of dig, next layer would be like trying to talk to it, speak to it and say, okay, like, again, being understanding, compassionate. You never want to be, angry or yell at it or forceful. You want to be curious. Okay. It's being objective and curious. And like asking it like questions about, why is it angry? What is it feeling? Where is this coming from? And then asking it like, what does it need? Ultimately, you want to ask it what it needs from you. And sometimes you may feel this part of you doesn't trust you. Maybe it doesn't trust anyone. And you have to kind of work with it and help it to understand who you are as your adult self. Maybe today you are 35 years old and it's like you can kind of get them to work with you. But again, you don't want to lie to it. You want to be very authentic. You want to come from a place of integrity, out of love. And ultimately, you want to ask it what it needs from you, and you want to give it that. So maybe it says, well, I need your connection, or I need you to hold me, or I need to get out of this place I've been stuck in. Or maybe it's carrying burdens. It's been carrying burdens for 30 years. Well, it's time for you to take the burdens off of it. And it's not that you have to take the burdens on. It's like taking the burdens and then you can find a way of like, what do we need to do with these burdens? And usually that part will help you, or your higher self will help you come up with a vision of, for example, I did this and I was at the edge of an ocean. I was on the beach and I was taking the burdens off that aspect and I was putting it in the water. And the water was actually the transmutation or filtering piece that was actually taking it away. So that was a quick kind of way of doing this, but we wanted to give this to you to help you right now because it's going to be really needed. Like we said, don't allow the external world to really pull you into it being truth right now. The external world is very deceptive right now. It's very elusive. There's a lot of illusions happening, and we don't want you to take them as truth right now because everyone is going through something right now and they're going to be reactive. There's going to be a lot of emotional highs. It may trigger you, and it may seem very similar or familiar to karmic patterns or traumas from the past. So we want to be careful that you don't take it true like, oh, this is happening again type of thing, because really this is happening just to help you integrate and to release this energy. It's not happening because there's this huge lesson you have to learn right now. It's really about, we need to allow this energy to go, and we need to properly follow that process. So another key here is any sort of medications right now are going to really cause some issues and not help you to release this. A lot of people are on, especially when it comes to anxiety or depression or these types of medications, you've taken them to disconnect from your emotions. But that's the very thing that's keeping you stuck. And it's the very thing that isn't solving your problem. It's actually making it worse. It may be a quick fix in the moment, but what it's doing long term is creating more dissonance, more disconnection, which is just amplifying these emotional states and these fears and anxieties. So it's you kind of have to go through the fire, right? And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. It may be painful. There may be a lot of discomfort, but do it now to do it again more easily, faster, but with ease and grace, right? This isn't a fast process. But this is the time to have the courage and strength to stand up to whatever's happening in your life or whatever's coming up for you emotionally. And it's time to finally, for the love of yourself. I mean, this is the time when you want to know what love is. How do I love myself? It's the courage to stand in the fire. It's the courage to jump in the deep end when it's scary as hell. When it's so uncomfortable and so painful emotionally that you want to run away. And it's time to not run away anymore. And this is the most important thing you can do for yourself right now, and that you've ever done for yourself and for your life, for your children, for your relationships, but ultimately for your life. Okay? Because this is going to change your life. This is a time of major transformation. It's an opportunity, and take it. Okay? Walk through that door and face whatever you have to face there. There's a lot of unknowns right now that are really scary for everyone, but we're promising you that, like, in that place of unknown is, like we said, all of the things, the impossible that you never thought was possible is on the other side of this. So we're going to leave you with that. Thank you again for joining. Allow yourself to take in this information and the codes and the energy that have been relayed through you through just this, again, this video, this audio. And you may have to sit and allow it to integrate, but just think through it, allow it to sit. And in each moment that pops up, you're going to be able to use this to your advantage, to use it to appropriately respond to what's ever happening, especially within yourself. This is all about going within. And that's why all this retrograde energy is happening, because we needed all of this intensity of retrogrades to force people to go within from all angles of their life. It's time to go within. It's time to pause. This isn't a time to be busy. This isn't a time to be just doing. This is a time to pause, to rest, to recalibrate, to sit with yourself, and to really create that deep relationship. And this is going to totally change you and change your lives. All right, we are going to let you go off into your experience, and we will connect with you at another time when there's important information for you to have. Thank you. Bye for now.